The motherboard connects all the components of the computer together. Before installing a motherboard, it is recommended that you first review the instructions. Check for any special requirements specific to that motherboard. Once you have installed a few motherboards, you will find that most of them are very similar. The manual will also include information about UEFI settings. Most modern motherboards follow a specific pattern when installing memory modules. The manual explains the order in which the memory modules must be installed. If you do not follow this order, your computer may not start or may run at reduced performance. It is also important to review the front panel header. This connects common case components such as the power switch and indicator lights, including the power LED. This will be covered in more detail later in the video. The manual will also include a motherboard diagram. This diagram shows the location of all the different connectors. Some of these connectors can be difficult to find, and each connector is clearly labeled. For each connector, there is additional information provided. For example, in the case of expansion slots, the manual explains how many lanes each slot supports. This information can help you decide which expansion slot to use when installing expansion cards. When installing components such as motherboards, make sure you are aware of electrostatic discharge and take anti-static precautions. We have a separate video that covers anti-static precautions in detail. Motherboards can be particularly sensitive, so it is important to take these precautions to reduce the risk of damage. Generally, at the rear of the computer, there is an I/O area that contains the external connections for the system. To protect these connections, an I/O shield is used. The I/O shield helps reduce electromagnetic interference entering or leaving the computer. It also helps prevent dust and debris from entering the computer case. There are two types of I/O shields, integrated and non-integrated. Non-integrated I/O shields must be installed separately. Integrated I/O shields are built into the motherboard and do not need to be installed separately. I will now have a look at how to install a non-integrated I/O shield. To install an I/O shield, place it into the I/O area of the case. You can try to push it into place using your fingers. If it does not fit easily, you can carefully use the back of a screwdriver to apply pressure. If you are having difficulty, try pressing on different edges until the I/O shield clicks into place. Next, install standoffs if they are required. Standoffs are small metal spacers used to mount a motherboard. Standoffs hold the motherboard at the correct height. They prevent electrical short circuits between the motherboard and other components in the computer case. Your computer case may have some standoffs pre-installed. Depending on the motherboard form factor, you may need to install additional standoffs. It is important that each motherboard mounting hole has a corresponding standoff. You must also ensure the standoffs are in the correct positions. Incorrectly placed standoffs can damage the motherboard. I will now have a look at how to install a standoff. Your computer case may include standoff mounting holes for multiple motherboard form factors. These holes are often marked on the case to indicate which ones to use. If the markings are not present or are unclear, you can refer to the case manual to determine the correct standoff locations. To install a standoff, use your fingers to screw it into the computer case. Standoffs are pre-threaded, so they should be tightened finger-tight. Finger-tight means tightening the standoff until it is snug and not loose. If you over-tighten a standoff, you can damage the threads or make the standoff difficult to remove later. To screw in a standoff, you can also use a standoff driver or a nut driver, if you have one. These tools are designed to install components such as standoffs. These tools can be useful if a standoff does not screw in easily. This can happen if the standoff or the standoff mounting hole has extra material that prevents the standoff from threading correctly. If this happens, do not apply too much force, as this can cause damage. Instead, unscrew the standoff and try again. If you continue to have problems, try using a different standoff. Keep in mind that you should not over-tighten the standoff. Once all the standoffs are in place, I will put the motherboard into the computer case to manual check each standoff can be seen and none are missing. However, we are not ready to install the motherboard just yet, so I will remove it. I want to install a few other components first. When installing a motherboard, it is generally much easier to install the CPU before installing the motherboard. This step is optional, but it usually makes the process easier. I will now install a CPU and a CPU cooler. Regardless of the type of CPU you are installing, the process is very similar. CPU coolers can differ in the way they are installed. Lift the retention lever of the CPU socket by pushing it to the side and then lifting it upward. To install the CPU, lower it into the socket. The socket and CPU will have a triangle. The CPU will only go in one way, so make sure that the triangles line up. Once the CPU is in the correct orientation, lower it into the socket and let gravity do the work. The socket is a zero insertion force socket, so no force is required to install the CPU. If you apply force, you risk damaging the CPU or the socket. Once the CPU is in the socket, push the retention lever down. When it is fully down, move it to the side to lock it into place. The retention lever holds the CPU securely in the socket. If you ever need to remove the CPU, you must first release the retention lever. I will now install a CPU cooler by lowering it onto the CPU. Note that the cooler shown here is for demonstration purposes only and is not technically compatible with this CPU's thermal output. To avoid thermal throttling, ensure that your chosen cooler meets or exceeds the cooling requirements of your CPU. The CPU cooler will usually have a CPU fan power cable. This cable must be connected to the appropriate CPU fan header on the motherboard. When connecting the CPU fan, make sure it is plugged into the header labeled CPU fan on the motherboard. While the fan may still spin, if it is connected to other headers, such as a system fan header or a pump fan header, it may not function correctly. The motherboard uses the CPU fan header to respond to changes in CPU temperature. If the fan is connected to the wrong header, the system may not properly control fan speed, which can lead to reduced cooling performance or thermal throttling. To install this CPU cooler, for one side, the retention clip must be placed under the mounting lugs of the socket bracket. On the other side, move the retention lever to the unlocked position. Place the retention clip under the mounting lug, then move the retention lever to the locked position. It is also worth considering installing memory modules and other components, such as M.2 devices, before installing the motherboard. Although these components can be installed after the motherboard is in the case, it is generally easier to install them beforehand. Your motherboard will have memory slots for installing memory modules. In this example, there are 4 slots. The motherboard manual will include instructions on which memory slots should be used first. If memory modules are installed in the wrong slots, the computer may not start or performance may be reduced. Many motherboards support multiple memory channels. When installing additional memory modules, each module should be installed in a separate channel. Using more memory channels increases the memory bandwidth available to the CPU. To install a memory module, the retaining clips on the memory slot must be released. Depending on the motherboard design, there may be retaining clips on both sides of the slot or only on one side. Once the memory module is aligned in the slot, press down evenly on both ends of the module. The retaining clips should lock into place, securing the memory module. Place the motherboard in the computer case and make sure all the screw holes are lined up. This helps prevent physical damage and electrical shorts. Once the motherboard is aligned with the standoffs, screw in a single screw into one corner. Do not tighten it fully. Leave it loose enough to allow for slight adjustments. Next, screw in a second screw into the diagonally opposite corner. Continue this process by screwing in the remaining screws into their standoffs. Keeping the screws loose initially allows the motherboard to shift slightly, ensuring the rear ports align perfectly with the I/O shield. Once all screws are seated, tighten them in a cross pattern to distribute pressure evenly, and secure the board firmly in place. The main power connector for standard motherboards is the 24-pin connector. Press the connector in until it clicks into place. There may also be 1 or 2 additional power connectors. While it is possible for a motherboard to have none, this is typically only the case with very old motherboards. Some high-end motherboards may include more than 2 additional power connectors. To connect the computer case to the motherboard, there will be a number of cables. The most common ones found in computer cases are called front panel connectors. These connect the power button, reset button, power indicator light, and hard disk activity light. These connectors are usually, but not always, grouped together on the motherboard. You may need to check the motherboard manual to determine their location. Depending on your computer case and motherboard, there may be additional connectors. For example, SATA power cables are primarily used to power storage devices. Computer cases will also usually include USB cables. In this example, a USB 3 connector is shown. These cables connect the USB ports on the computer case to the motherboard. When building a computer, you should consider cable management. Look for cable routing holes that are designed to allow cables to pass through. Computer cases also include tie-down points for securing cables. Using these features helps keep cables away from fans and other components. It also makes the computer look much neater. Thanks for watching this video on motherboard installation. I hope you have found this video useful. Until the next video from us, thanks for watching.